Lett Architects has had an office in Peterborough since 1995 and has been working in Peterborough since 1968 was the first time the firm came to work in the Peterborough area. Jackson Creek has played a major role in many of our projects. Doing the master planning for Charlotte Mews in the 80s, and the idea of starting to open up the creek was something that was new at the time, and further developing that concept with projects such as the federal building on King Street at 185 King, and creating a pedestrian landscaped edge along the edge of the creek was something that we were able to do in 1988. And now, having lived and worked in Peterborough for many years, it seems that the creek could become much more of a catalyst to the downtown and the planning of the downtown.
What you see with the installation right now is about half of what we're trying to do, and we've got another shipment of wood coming today that we're going to finish the rest of the railing walkway that we've done. And it's see the idea that we've got two pieces of pine sandwiched together with a couple carriage bolts, and it's just a friction fit, and what that allows us to do is really move the arms of the wood up and down, which kind of mimics that flowing effect of the river is what we're really trying to capture. And then as the other thought of looking at the series of vignettes, I was exploring the idea of what we could do with the repurposing of the bus terminal. It's not a permanent structure, and there's the idea that perhaps in 10 years it would probably be razed to the ground. And so there's a big stretch of Jackson's Creek that actually runs under the bus terminal right now. So with my area of exploration in that area, in that spot, I would want to reopen the river and create a series of paths and walkways and parks, but also trying to repurpose that stretch of Simcoe for the downtown by more commercial, mixed residential, and maybe the inclusion of more downtown parking. And it's just a matter of getting it out to see what it would look like.
So I'm looking at a spot on Jackson Creek, which is beyond Soupstone and Tribal Voices, and thinking about ways that people can interact with the water and that sort of natural setting that's behind there. So I'm going to be creating a sketch that's kind of integrating photographs and a model which I've built to think about how we can bring people down to the creek and just use that space a little bit more than we currently are.
So as part of a framework for our study, we started looking at Jackson Creek through the downtown, which really ends at the mouth of where it opens into Little Lake and then extends all the way through to eventually Jackson Park. But for the purposes of our study, we started basically at Hunter Street and then ended all the way through to where it connects at George. And the creek itself reveals itself a number of times between the one end to the other, but for the majority of it, at roughly 3/4, it's actually underground. So the study is going to look at the opportunities that could be there if the river was exposed. So we've broken it out into a couple of different segments, starting with the cafe district, and Adam's going to be spending some time looking at the possibility of exposing the creek through that section, which currently runs underneath the transit terminal and exposes itself for a brief little period beside the only cafe. We're also looking at the market district with the possibility of opening the creek more than it currently is in the Mews. The section behind Soupstone through down between King Street and Sherbrooke Street, the creek already is exposed for about 50% of that, but near the LCBO it's been paved over again, so we'll look at the possibility of revealing it there. And then the end point is actually near the city works yard, which is a lot that's is likely to have some changes given that the city has moved the uses of that lot somewhere else. So the termination of the creek could potentially be repurposed in that lot that's already owned by the city. And part of the investigation is to envision that site 20, 30 years in the future, imagining, a ghost train actually does come to Peterborough one day and having a downtown transit terminal that has buses and train, and how the creek might actually be used as a catalyst to that future growth. So I'm working on developing a model through that section where the creek could be exposed, but also could be the main access point for people coming to Peterborough. So if you came to Peterborough through the GO train station, you stopped at the downtown terminal, Jackson Creek would be front and center and would be a pedestrian artery that would guide you through the downtown.